lunches, welcome back to another video. If you're new, my name's Phoebe. Welcome. I thought this week I would try something a bit different. I think it's very needed, and that is to not be ruled by to-do lists every day, because they are very much part of my routine. I think they are for most of us. I mean, they obviously serve a very practical purpose, but I feel like their wrath over me is reaching an unhelpful point at the moment, in that I'm losing a bit of my spontaneity or flexibility when I have a sneaking suspicion that I could, two things: A, be resting a lot more, and B, actually getting through what I want to do in a week a lot quicker by tuning in with myself and making the most of my fluctuating energy levels. Now, last night I was planning my planner. I quickly realized I can't really live a week right now without having some sort of organization. So what I usually do is, as well as using the Frankie planner and writing a list of things I have to do that week, and also work or classes or appointments, catching up with friends, each day I would write a to-do list to sort of break it down. So I'm going to eliminate that daily to-do list and just go off this weekly spread. So you might think that is a to-do list of itself, but I still have commitments and responsibilities, so I need something. But I was already feeling a bit naked going to bed without having written my next day's to-do list. But surprise, the world has not fallen in. This morning I took Mel for a nice long walk. I read the current non-fic book I'm reading, Stan Grant's Talking to My Country. On the walk I listened to my novel on the go, Such a Fun Age, which I'm really enjoying. Made a smoothie. Figured out a way to wear this wool vesty singlet thing, which I'm really loving. And yeah, sitting down to get things done before 9 o'clock. Mondays at the moment are my most admin-y, less exciting task, but also most productive day. I need to send some emails today, and also do the prep for applying for a job, and just follow up on a bunch of stuff that I haven't yet. For example, when is the right point to pick our pumpkins? Because we don't live in a frosty environment, it's a frost-free environment, and so the leaves don't all disappear and create those haunting scenes associated with Northern Hemisphere Halloween, where it's just the pumpkins left in a barren field. So everything's very lush, but they do look ready. Anyway, I think organisation and planning is relevant to all of us, no matter what we're doing in our lives at the moment. But I'll be filming a weekly vlog, with all the stuff we know and love. Good food, what I'm watching, reading, random thoughts. Hope you enjoy. it's like a hug, yet you can still do stuff. It will be interesting to see if my reflections change, or I'll probably run out of oomph as the week goes on, and that will affect things. And Mondays are generally my most productive day, as I've already mentioned, but not having a to-do list definitely sort of engaged my competitive side. Like, I'm just competing with myself and like trying to feel good in eating the frog in the week and doing a lot of the things that I had envisaged. I got everything I wanted to do done today. Some things didn't work out. Like, I'm kind of just coming to the conclusion that you really can't buy wax paper in Australia, so I won't be able to make something I was going to make with that, but that's fine. Move on. Major first world problem. But I also did the 3 things that I was thinking I probably wouldn't get round to this week, and that is washing Merlin. I'm probably going to be doing like 5 times in his life. It's just not a thing. He's got the built-in oil coat situation, and really we were like, are you getting a bit pongy, Merlin? But it was really just his breath. And he loves to yawn in your face, which, like, then you're going to be more conscious of his breath. It's not awful, by the way, just, you know. And he smelt the same. He's really self-cleaning. I just haven't taken him to the beach in a while, so I just should have done that. It was very much like a cosmetic coconut wash as opposed to a wash. But anyway, did that, learned what I'm going to do going forward from it. I put up with the sort of government bureaucratic systems and applied for a job to do with the census that's happening this year that would use skills that I acquired in my degree, well-paying casual work. And I did the weeding for my grandparents, which I got eaten alive by ants and mozzies. But it's out the way, so I feel really sort of chummy, chuffed, and like I've had a bit of an ego boost by getting all that done on a Monday. But whatever, I'll take it. It's really nice to just tick a lot of things off that had been in the back of your mind as, oh, I've got to get around to that. So the Handmaid's Tale next season is out on Wednesday, and I have still not finished Anne of Green Gables. I've been watching a lot of YouTube, which I've liked, but you know that sort of stale feeling you get? Yeah, that's been my mood. So I'm gonna try and finish Anne of Green Gables. I think I have 5 episodes to go before I start The Handmaid's Tale. Sorry about the weird lighting. I've just pulled up to my Word City horticulture class and I'm about to go in. Tonight's topic is like soil health, so not too excited. I was just listening to Such a Fun Age on the way, and it got to the exciting part. If you read it, I'm meaning the Thanksgiving dinner, lunch, yeah. Shit's hitting the fan. Anyway, today I got ahead as well, like yesterday, which felt good, although it wasn't like had all the motivation. Writing felt really easy. It felt really sloggy and hard. So I don't know how great that piece of writing was that I did this morning, but yeah. So far, the no to-do list thing is definitely proving positive and worthwhile. Pumpkins growing than just 5. My dad took home one. I didn't pay a cent for those plants. They just sprouted out of like freshly turned soil, so can't complain. I'm a bit nervy about this side of the harvesting process. Like, you leave them out to harden a bit. I just want to eat them and not make them go to waste because it's super cool. The class last night on healthy soil was a struggle. The lecturer was so passionate and like into it, so I loved her, but the content, I couldn't stay awake. I was so tired. It was such a microbial level, you know, we're talking 1000, if a millimeter was split into 1000. Soil composition, structure. Essentially the crux of the practical takeaway was that if you've got issues with your soil, just add organic matter, aka compost or animal shit. And I already knew that, so I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. I had a dream last night that a really close friend was really disappointed in me because I complain a lot in videos. And I keep catching myself that wasn't real. Yeah, just being honest. I don't know, night classes, they are rough. And doing this course, I guess, it's very revealing that I am much more of a hands-on learner, or at least that's the part I love, the practical side of things. I have an appointment today and then I do some nannying. I just did the planning for a piece of writing, an essay on car food, or like eating in the car, and the broader themes I'm linking it to sort of the shame around eating in public, although you're sort of eating in private in a car, which is sort of worse because you're in a glass box and a bit like an animal in a cage, feeling this very primal thing that there's a lot of shame around but can't win, because when I've needed to eat in the car, it's been because of crazy schedules and just a clear deprioritization, ensuring people have time to eat from educational institutions. And I was just thinking how like annoying it is that there's such a stereotype around at university, like student eating culture, and like a stereotype that it's really crap because of like budget constraints. I think there's another side of that, which is time constraints, and they are totally fixable by the people who make fun of the diets of people in college or whatever. I was writing down the takeaways from the book I recently read, Eating with My Mouth Open by Sam Van Sweden, yesterday. So many pages of good notes. Something that I wrote down, she talks about confessional writing, like diary entries or journaling or personal essays, and I do think there's like, well, there is a discussion around like oversharing that I haven't really read up a lot about, so I don't feel like I have anything to say on that. But just she talked about how confessional writing is loaded with like worrisome femininity, or another way to say that is like it's associated with women or girls like oversharing to an audience that isn't like a mental health professional, which it really should be the audience or something. But she was sort of critiquing that and saying writing about your personal experiences can be confused with confessional writing, and confessional is associated, and to confess is associated with like having done something wrong, which also links, am I making sense? Which also links to a more like personal feminine style of writing, talking about your own experience, and the sort of mislabeling it as like confessional writing can be used to like ignore it and shunt it to the side and not take it seriously. Wow, sorry, that wasn't the most lovelyly articulated thing, but yeah, it's just something I'm thinking about, weaving in personal memories and insights into these essays, because I'm constantly asking myself, like, why am I sharing this? Does it have a point? And not wanting to go into the oversharing, just mining your own personal experiences for no real reason type territory. Hurry. Hello again. It is 5 PM Wednesday arvo. I finished Such a Fun Age this afternoon and it was so good. It is such like a gentle thriller that you get really impatient. Not that it's not slow in any way, but it really like is in control and is like, just wait, let the story unfold. It's like continually gripping. But the authority in the writing style was so impressive. Like, it was such an even reveal throughout the whole book. There wasn't one big moment. I very much enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to a couple of episodes of Anne with an E tonight. I've definitely got back into it. I just love Matthew. Even though he doesn't have much dialogue, I just love his dialogue, and any scene with him is such a treat. My favourite quote from him is when he's really awkward at the dinner table when there's some mildly romantic discussion initiated by Anne being had, and he's like, oh, what are you eating? Barn. And then he just wants to keep going back to the barn. But he always steps up when he has to. He's such a gem. I just finished Anne with an E. Season 3, all of it. I cried so much. I find it doubly emotional when you sort of get the sense that the actors know that their time working together is coming to an end. And just Marilla, Matthew and Anne stuff. Oh, they're like perfectly cast and there's so much humanity in them, and I know it's a weird thing to get super emotional about, and some people brush aside actors as having suspicious motives, but honestly they do vulnerability for a living, and I can certainly relate to feeling I have buckets of vulnerability and emotion to share if your day-to-day life doesn't really hold space for it. Oh, Matthew, Marilla. Someone asked on Instagram what I thought of the TV show and it coming to an end, and I haven't really read up on the context, but I loved the series, but I did sort of get the vibe. It's not based on anything factual or known, but I always get the sense that studios and companies like Netflix find navigating adolescence and young adulthood continually with actors from when they've been like preteen to be like an awkward thing if they start to look a bit different, and TV shows that are created by a woman or share some in quite a domestic experience. I don't know, it's not really based on anything statistical, but watching it my heart ached. I could see from a studio perspective that it was a bit too cutesy, not cutesy but like homey and rural. Like Marilla and Matthew aren't cool people. I don't know. I'm so glad I went back to it and finished it. Don't know what I was thinking. Very relieved though that I did not have to go through the heart-wrenching scene of seeing Matthew die. I couldn't do it. And I'm not pushy and you don't have to do this obviously, but I would highly recommend reading the graphic novel and then watch the TV show. I had a really sad off day today. I attempted to have a nap this morning for an hour, but I was just overthinking and feeling really sad. I think my 3 days of exceptional productivity have caught up with me. I didn't really do much. I cooked 2 things. I made that really delicious Snickers caramel slice again, so that will be up on my website, so link below. And I made some fritters for an upcoming recipe, corn and dill. They were really nice, great texture. And then I had a lovely chai with a friend and a great soul feeding chat by the bay. But I didn't really tackle anything on my to-do list. Merlin is he's growing out of a lot of things, but his waking up at 5:30 every morning barking is very exhausting sometimes to deal with. Every once in a while catches up with you, and feeling doubly physically exhausted today. I did look through this book though, pardon me, a library book, Vegan Cakes, and this had some interesting techniques in it. This person doesn't like aquafaba, which I kind of was going here with. She can't get her nose around the smell, and I can't say I've had that much success with it. Pardon me, when I've made meringue type stuff with it, it's just sort of peed, like become really sticky and wet after like half a day. And I do agree that the taste is a bit funny. She uses potato starch instead, which I think is pretty cool. Just your neighbourhood gal pal, feeling freshly traumatised from an episode of The Handmaid's Tale, remembering why that's the most deep, dark, sad, gross feeling show, but also good, so you keep watching. But I get that it's a dystopian, incredibly violent world, but when like the good people, I mean, I'm not in their position, what do I know, but like the good people are just as violent. But stepping back from that, it's Friday evening. I think I'll end the vlog here so I can edit it tomorrow and get this up for Sunday. My week of not having a to-do list has been extremely insightful. I think Monday to Wednesday showed that while it's freeing and it does work, and you can, if you're feeling it, get a lot more done without writing a to-do list and just having on your mind all the things you need done. So it could be a good method in a crisis, which might sound like an oxymoron to not have a plan. But after 3 days and then hitting major burnout on Thursday, on the flip side, to-do lists can be really good if you're measured and mildly restrained or clever about them, in that they can prevent you from having burnout. Another observation is just whether you go by to-do lists or not, we all have such ingrained expectations of productivity, and relaxing is just not simple. Like, I went to take a nap, and yes, there was many reasons I didn't share about this on Thursday, but I couldn't actually switch off. And even when you're like, I'm just gonna chill today, it's so hard to decide to do that and also be present in that so it's effective. We're all such products of an unhealthy system when it comes to working ourselves to the ground. We've all absorbed the ugly side of productivity's dogma, capitalism's dogma, and going by your own rhythms is nearly impossible, or at least I get the sense will take years of unlearning. How are you meant to live on a different rhythm to the rhythm of the entire world? I don't know. When there's real life obligations to be met. But trying to think what I'll take from this experiment, because I've been doing to-do lists for such a long time, I think I already have been implementing to-do list ability of pacing myself and not putting too much in my week. But at the same time, when I took away the to-do list in my week, I was a bit more spontaneous, and I miss that part of me. So I'm gonna try, and I love this phrase, loosen the grip. Probably still have some to-do lists, but maybe not make 2 of them as I have in the past every day. Like one in my planner and then one for the whole day in detail. Just try and loosen the grip. And you know, when I often tell myself that it'll probably work out if I am worried about not finishing something in time or not getting somewhere on time, it often does work out. Or if it doesn't meet that rule in my head, then it really doesn't matter. Like it does work out because it doesn't matter. Also, this week proved to me that when I try less hard, I do a better job, which is a really, I think, hard thing for many of us to remember. And it's a mind-bending thing too, because it's like, well, what? That's not something I can control. Like, effort is something I can control, and so putting in my best effort and trying as hard as I can should equal my best effort. But actually, yeah, I mean, you can reflect on it in your own context, but I do know that's true for me, that, yeah, if I don't try as hard, if I just loosen the grip, maybe do things without so much tension and expectation and perfectionism, they go better. And by better I mean less stress, more enjoyable, maybe a bit more freedom and creativity infused into them. Obviously I'm speaking really vaguely, but I hope this is semi-applicable, relatable, helpful, thought-provoking for you. This week was a mind bender in realising how programmed I am. We all are. Like, this was probably a crazy long vlog, so thank you so much for watching Honey Bunches. See you in a video soon, and I hope you have a great night, morning or day ahead. Lots of love. Bye.